When it comes to what your family eats and drinks, you know your choices matter. You're the expert because you know what fits your life. And getting it right starts with good information. That's why America's beverage companies are sharing more information about our ingredients at goodtoknowfacts.org. No spin, no judgments, just the facts straight from the experts for more than 140 beverage ingredients. Visit goodtoknowfacts.org.
Shawn French, what up? This one luck, I let the pain inspire me. I put my all in everything I'm doing. Up until it's done, I'm me for the entirety. I put in overtime, I be working. Just know I'ma go for mine, cause I earned it. They watching, I know it's time. I confirmed it. A whole society determined.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another episode. This is your host, Shawn French. And tonight I have with me an amazing guest who has a different background than you're used to hearing on my show, but she's super relevant. She has a great book coming out here in the next couple weeks, and I can't wait to help her promote that book today. But Jared Bannon is an attorney who is an entrepreneur, and she's licensed to be an attorney in 4 different states. So one heck of a background. And tonight we are going to tackle the mindset strategies that it takes to have to be a successful entrepreneur. So she's going to drop some knowledge on us tonight, guys. I want you to dig in and connect with her afterwards. Welcome to the show, Courtney.
Thank you. Thank you so much for the great introduction. And I'm so happy to be here.
I'm super happy you're here too. I finally got the intro right. How many times did it take me? Like 2 or 3 times? We can be honest with the audience. I butchered it the first 3 times. Oh, I'm super happy to have you on the show here. For those that are listening that don't know your full background, why don't you give them a little bit of a version of it, right? You're an attorney, you're a law professor, so many different hats, but that's just not all you are. So let's educate the audience.
Wonderful. Thank you. It's actually the least of what I am. I really consider my law degree, as we were talking earlier, it's a tool that I use in business. It's not a weapon that I use against people. And a lot of people have very negative, views of attorneys, and rightfully so in some cases, because a lot of attorneys are all about billing and they delay things and they do all of those things that drive entrepreneurs and business people crazy. Whereas I come in, I tell you how to take the shortcut, how to be compliant, how to be regulatory. But more than that, I really love business consulting, and having a corporate law background really helps me go in and say, hey, you know what? You need to be a C Corp if you're going to take investors, and let's take your verticals and let's make them into subsidiaries and keep everything in different silos. So I help people kind of stay straight to do what they love to do. And when somebody's an entrepreneur, it's because they found a niche market or something that they absolutely love to do. And that goes right into mindset for me. If you are doing what you love, then your mindset's already on the right track. And sometimes if you're not self-aware, you might kind of get off your track. And I'm a huge proponent of self-awareness, brutal self-awareness. I edit myself every day. When I wake up in the morning, I write down my goals. I read from one of my favorite books, this is like the best book I ever read, The 48 Laws of Power. Like, I have it with me at all times. Because I always want to remind myself about mindset. And there are lots of people that talk about mindset. I like Dr. Joe Dispenza, where you have these thoughts, and those thoughts actually are true to your body, like your body. And I'm all about, eating clean, keeping your body healthy. It's not just about reading books and thinking, oh, I feel great today. It's a whole show that you got to put on for yourself every single day. It's what you put in your body, what you put in your mind. The books that you read are really like the same thing as the food you put in your body. It's the same thing. You're feeding your cells every single minute of the day. And when I see an entrepreneur who put everything into doing something that they love, I don't want them to get tripped up by all of this regulatory, can I curse? Bullshit.
Oh, please do.
All the fucking bullshit. That,
Okay, now we're really cursing. That's the good stuff right there. Don't say bullshit's a curse word. That's a gateway. That's a gateway word on this
Oh my
show.
God, it's so funny.
You're
When I was
good,
little,
dude.
I used to ask my mom, can I say a bad word? She's like, sure. And it was always like the worst one I could think of. But, it's so important for people to know what they don't know. And a lot of people don't. They're focused on
Mm.
doing these things and they have these passion projects that they embark on. And then they come to me and I'm like, oh, you can't do that. You can't share that commission with a realtor because you're not a realtor, or you can't take a percentage of a mortgage broker because you have to be a mortgage broker under Florida statutes. Little things like that, people really just don't know. And, some people just don't know where to look. I mean, how are you supposed to know something that you don't know? But so that's where I come in. And I really like to just kind of not tell people, hey, you know what, you've got to do it this way. I really like to tell them how to do it in a positive way, how to really kind of like what a lawyer does. I'm very mindful. I'm very much into intention. I actually speak to Florida lawyers about intention and mindset. And why is that important to me? Because when I am all set straight in my head and in my health, and I've gotten my workout in, I'm thinking from a place of strategy, not a place of emotion. So when I have to communicate to people and tell them what they don't want to hear, like, hey, you can't do that, that's not how I say it. I say, you know what, here's how you can do that. What's your goal? What do you want? Let me get you there. I might have to take you down a different street. I might have to take a shortcut through your neighbor's yard, but I will get you where you're going if you really trust me. And that's why my mindset is infectious to my client or to the person I'm talking to, because mindset is infectious. It's just 100% infectious. If you're around a negative person, you're going to have negative feelings. So when I'm trying to deliver something to someone about, hey, you can't do it this way, I have to make sure that I'm actually in the mindset to say, hey, you can do this way. It's all about presentation. And that is so important, especially for entrepreneurs, because we are naturally disruptors, and disruptors don't like to be told no. I've been in that position many times. So that's really where my mindset journey kind of started, was with working with someone who had an extreme hatred for attorneys and everything legal. So I had to kind of learn how to back it up and turn it into something fabulous. Like, hey, you know what? You want me to build you a building? No problem. Here's how we're going to do it. And that is just like an impossible task to do for some attorneys, because they don't have the right mindset. They want to fight. They want to negotiate. And a lot of attorneys, they just are in it for competition. It's like two racehorses next to each other, just, and they don't understand. It's not about winning. It's about getting someplace good for both clients. And I remember when I was a very, very newly minted attorney, I was doing, I think, mortgage foreclosures. They were very popular at the time. And this other attorney,
2007.
yes, this other attorney was being absolutely deplorable to me on the phone. He was screaming at me and cursing at me, and I just let him do it. I'm very calm in these situations. I'm actually always trying not to laugh. I have just like this natural, jovial, happy personality. And I just waited till he was done, and I said, "Are you done?" And he's like, "Yeah." And I said, "Can I ask you a question? Is this client your mother?" And he's like, "No, I don't even know them. I've never even met them in person. Why are you asking such a personal question?" And I said, "Because I feel like you need to save that kind of energy and passion for somebody that you're related to. Like, you don't know this person. Why are you being so combative?" And he said, "I don't know." And, every once in a while, he still calls me and thanks me. He says I changed his entire life because I put something into perspective for him. And that's another thing about having the right mindset, being receptive to when you're doing something wrong, when you're not approaching something. And, you have these epiphanies from time to time when you're talking to someone and you realize, oh my God, this guy is just not metabolizing what I'm saying. Most people dig in and go harder, whereas I take a step back and I try to see, how am I miscommunicating? Like, I'm not miscommunicating, but they're not metabolizing what I'm saying. So I take a step back and then I try to talk to them in a way I think they're going to understand. And 9 times out of 10, that works. And that's just a self-awareness thing, because people think that, their way of thinking is how everybody thinks. They don't realize that I might look at this color and call it turquoise, and that person might call it cobalt blue. It's all about the lighting and how you look at things from different angles. Nothing's the same to any one person. And when I'm trying to impart something to someone, I'm really very aware of their body language, how they're looking at me, how they're smiling, if they tense up a little bit. And then I can know how to kind of walk it back and talk to them. And that really comes just from self-awareness. And you can't change somebody's mindset, but you can enlighten them. You can inspire them. And that's something that I try to do too.
I love it. I love it. And so many amazing things to unpack there. Going back to the Dr. Joe Dispenza reference about your cells, right? And just everything you put on into your body becomes a part of you, whether it's the food you eat, your thoughts, or even what you're listening to in your ears. I always find it's best, when I'm working out in the morning, you and I wake up at the same time. We discuss this off the air. If we wake up at 4 a.m., we're in the gym, 4:30 or whatever the case may be. And I used to just listen to my country music or to some old school hip hop. I mean, that's me. I'm that guy. I love that music. And what I started noticing was when I was leaving the gym, I was still very, I don't know. I was just still very tired and I just wasn't right in the mind. And so what I started to do, I started changing what I was putting in my dome when I was working out. So whereas before I'd get on the cardio machine for 30 minutes and I'd do a walk and I would watch something twisted on Netflix because my wife doesn't let me watch that shit when she's around. So I would use my cardio time for all right, I'm going to watch, Fool Me Once or something on Netflix, which is super suspenseful and it's a thriller. It's not very wholesome. And I noticed that I was still walking out of the gym with angst and the anxiety and just not feeling super good. And so then I stopped it. And so now when I'm on the machine, I'll listen to one of my shows if I want to see how it sounded and how it's going to come across. I'll try to, get walking on the treadmill or whatever it is I'm doing and forget who's talking and just see how it's going to be received. Right. Or I will listen to another self-development podcast, or that's pretty much it. And I got to tell you, for those of you listening right now, you don't necessarily need music blasting in your ears. You need something that's going to inspire you, whatever the case may be. And what I found starting to really inspire me is being deep in thought. And so I have this theory. I'm not very good at meditation, but I am one hell of an active meditation guy. I can sit there in the gym and I can seem super aware of everything going on around me. And I can tell you it's almost black around me. I can't see anything. All I'm focused on is what's in front of me and what's going on into my ears and how it's going to impact the rest of my day. How does that work for you? Was there a specific moment where you just decided to shift and only put certain things into your ears when your mind's the most receptive? That's when the oxygen's flowing through your blood and your body, right? That's when you want to take in that rich energy stuff, right? So you can download it and then you can go about your day. Was there a moment for you where you can remember where that was just a deciding factor for you?
Yes. A big one. My father had cancer and he was very, very sick. And I spent many, many hours in his hospital room, just sitting by his bed to keep him company. I'm talking 7 or 8 hours at a time. That's when I started meditating. This is in 2010. And then in 2011, I decided to get my yoga certification. So I'm actually a certified Vinyasa Flow yoga teacher. And I'm very passionate about yoga. And that's one of the things that I talk about to the Florida bar attorneys is using yoga as a way to kind of reset your mindset, because there's no way you hide from yourself on a yoga mat or in meditation. And then while I was doing meditation, I tried everything. I tried the singing bowls. I tried silent. I tried the candle. None of that worked for me, but I'm very, very moved by music. So I downloaded some Hindu mantras and some Indian music, and I felt every cell in my body come to life. I felt all the energy they talk about in meditation just driving up my spine. It's such complex music and it's so beautiful and so moving. It actually like pulls at my heartstrings and pounds through my head. Like I feel it in my whole body because it's so complex and beautiful to me. And then when my father got worse and worse and worse, I would put the music in my ears and that's all I would listen to. And then I decided I have to go to India. Like I have got to go there and I want to play this song when I'm walking down the street for the first time because I had this one song in my mind and I did that. And through all of the stuff I just told you about, it was the moment on the street that I had dreamed about. Like I'm going to cry just talking about it. It was that moment in the street with that music in my ear because I manifested that trip. And I manifested putting that music in my ears so I would feel goosebumps everywhere. And that was probably the most magical moment I've ever experienced in my life because I felt like I had traveled through time and space to get to that one moment in my life with that light. The light in Asia is very different. And the smell, and it's very chaotic. Like the people in India, the streets are moving. There's a cow, a truck, a tuk-tuk, people walking. Like there's everything just all over the place. But the hum of the chaos creates this bubble of white noise. I felt such peace. And with the music, I can't even tell you, it was so transformative. It changed how I looked at everything. I came home a completely different person. I went there and I completely shattered everything I thought about shopping, eating, housing, family. Everything just changed. And every time I hear that one particular song, which is pretty much every single day, I just go bananas. I love it. And then I have one song I play every single morning. That's my favorite song in the whole world. And it's the opposite of anything you're going to think I'm going to say right now. It's Led Zeppelin, Over the Hills and Far Away. It's my
Okay. Why is that your favorite song?
There's also something about the complexity of the guitar riffs that they play. And then it's the notes they hit. There are certain notes in music that actually trigger emotions. So if you understand anything about your chakras, there are certain frequencies and vibrations that actually kind of hit your funny bone, your sad bone, your heart bone, like everything is really for me about music because in meditation and especially in Indian music, when they're doing the mantras like the Om, that's a vibration. That vibration actually changes how your cells in your body relate to each other. And vibration's a very important thing. And every person has their own vibration. So when I meet someone, when you size somebody up, I'm sizing up their energy. I feel their energy.
Mm-hmm.
Are you still there?
I'm still here.
Popped
yes,
up on my screen.
You're good.
I don't know what it is. Hold on. There we go.
We're still here, folks. We are here.
A disappearing act all on my own. So, vibrational frequency is a very real thing. And, people who are into the intention space and all the mindset stuff probably already know about it. But I urge everybody to try some meditation with chanting or with a singing bowl or even just loud music. And I love all music. I love country. I even like Pantera. Like Pantera has some of the best lyrics I've ever heard. And then I like the devotional music. Like there's no type of music I don't like because I like frequency and vibration. So it's all about that.
It's very well put, Courtney. We talk about intention, mindset, visualization, all that stuff, right? Manifestation. I think a lot of people don't really understand manifestation, right? I think the movie The Secret by Rhonda Byrne started a movement or brought light to a movement that was already there. Just not a whole lot of people were thinking about it and doing it and practicing it. Now, again, well done. Love the documentary. I also believe it was the half truth, right? There was a big part missing. A lot of times, what people think now that they just close their eyes and a Ferrari is going to show up. It's not the way it works, right? But what we want to do is we want to understand that behind the manifestation and the vision boards and the thoughts and the meditation is intention and clarity and work, right? And also this frequency that you're talking about. The frequency that you can feel that being already attained you start operating differently, right? You start feeling different when you're having conversations. I think about this a lot, especially recently with everything that I have going on with my show. There's a lot of changes that are about to happen, and it's going to flip people on their asses because the level up that's coming, they're not going to know what hit
I
them.
was just talking
But
about
this
that
has
with
been in
somebody.
play for a very
Yeah.
long time. What's
I was just
that?
talking about that with somebody a couple days ago, about what's coming next. As far as like, I'm very spiritual, and there's a whole shift coming that everybody is going to benefit from, even the people who don't believe in it. Like, I'm the only one in my family that thinks this way.
Mm-hmm.
I am not like anyone in my family. I broke every generational trauma, generational trigger, generational cycle. Like, I busted through all of that stuff. And they all think I'm crazy, but I have a superpower, and I prove to them that I can tell and sense people's vibrations, because my superpower is when I can sense when somebody I know is nearby. And I freak my mom out all the time, and I'll just say,
Mm-hmm.
Donna and Charlie. And 2 minutes later, Donna and Charlie will like walk into the supermarket. But I'm that in tune with that stuff because I work at it every single day. And it goes back to what you were saying about manifesting. You don't close your eyes and a Ferrari appears. But when you make a vision board, to me, the purpose of the vision board is you look at it and then you make different choices all day long. You see the picture of the Ferrari that you want, so you don't buy the Louboutins, you put the money in your bank account. So it's all about people
Mm-hmm.
understanding what manifestation really is and how it all works and that mindset. But you have to do that every single day. And it's not just manifesting for a thing that you want, it's manifesting the lifestyle that will get you the thing that you want. And that is extremely hard work. When I went to law school, go ahead.
Sorry. I hate to interrupt. Let's touch on that right there, right? Because I don't want to glance over that. When you're talking about the lifestyle that you need to lead in order to have what you want to have, or that you're putting on that vision board, I think a lot of it too is that, but it's also, who do you need to become, right? Who do you need to become in order to have that? What does that higher Shawn French look like? What does that higher Courtney Bannon look like? What would she be doing right now? Let's walk the audience through that, because I think that's super important, because to me, that is almost like rule number one. That is almost like rule number one. Here's what I want. Here's what I want to achieve. But who do I need to become? Like, what does that person do every day?
It's funny because a few years ago, like right before COVID, I wasn't really happy with how my life was going. I was in a job where I was underappreciated. They were nice to me. They were good to me. I had one person that I loved working with so much that she made it worth it to come to work every day, but I didn't feel valued. And I thought, am I doing something wrong? Am I not worthy of being valued? And then I realized, no, I'm pretty worthy of it. Because I made a list. Okay, here are all the things about me that I love. Here are all the things about me that I don't love. How do I fix those? How do I become a better person? So I like wrote down the type of person that I wanted to be. I want to be the type of person that always writes thank you notes. And I started small. I want to be the type of person that food preps on Sunday. I want to be the type of person that gets up and reads and does things. I want to do one kind act every single day. I wrote down all of those things, and I didn't even think about, oh, what do I want? What is my lifestyle going to provide for me? It wasn't about material stuff. It was about being a good person. And when you are a good person, you do good things and good things happen to you. And I'm oversimplifying it, but in the crux of this is that it can't be about material things. It has to be about the type of person you want to be. And you have to look for qualities in other people that you admire. And like my boss at my old job that I loved, she had certain qualities that I was in awe of. Like, she was literally like a magical unicorn. And every time I looked at her and I saw something that I liked, I thought, how do I get that way? Because it's not just about mimicking her. Like, she did work on the inside, and she has mindset things that I don't have.
No.
So then that was another journey. So your one journey has 1,000 different little hidden journeys and caves and You have to swim under the rocks and climb over the mountains. Like, it's hard work, but it's so worth it.
Southwest Florida is one of the most beautiful places on the planet to live. For those of you that are thinking of moving from other states to come to Florida, or even just moving to a different part of the state, I want you to think of a big, beautiful luxury home. Contact Legacy Luxury Builders. They are a family-owned and operated luxury residential construction company. As a family-owned business, they believe in the power of building not just homes, but legacies. Contact Legacy Luxury Builders. The nightmare of feeling like you'll never measure up, of constant second guessing and self-doubt. It eats away at you and destroys your confidence. I've been there too, feeling like I didn't belong on the field with my teammates, but it doesn't have to stay that way. I used to compare myself to everyone around me. I thought that no matter how hard I worked, I'd never be as good as the other guys. It killed my self-belief. I now help athletes develop an elite mindset so comparison no longer controls them. We teach techniques to cut out the negative self-talk and unlock their full potential. Imagine stepping into the box when it counts the most and feeling totally confident in your ability, feeling invincible instead of insecure, ready to seize the opportunity instead of shrinking from it. That's the mindset I help athletes develop. Don't waste another minute on comparison and self-doubt. Take control of your mindset and become the confident, unstoppable competitor you are meant to be. DM or comment below to get started with Edge and transform your mental game. It sure is. And it's funny because you start talking about your boss or your old coworker that had something special. She was a unicorn. Yeah. And I always believe this. When someone is attracted to another person, I'm talking about like the personality and like the traits and the characteristics that they possess. And you're like, wow, I want to be around that man or that woman. Like, I have to meet that person because, wow, they're inspiring. I also believe at some level, you, that person, see that in them and admire that in them because that's buried somewhere deep in you.
Yes. I love that. I never even thought of it like that. That's an excellent point.
It is this thing. It's this thing. Like, and I've been compared to a lot of other people that have heard me on my show, that have watched me grow and then listened to the same, podcast that I listen to. And they're like, dude, you're like dead on that guy. You are dead on that guy. I was like, well, that's funny because I admire that person and I've wanted to like learn from that person forever. And it's crazy. The moment you decide to get out there, it's almost like it's not the same because you're your own person, but you have those characteristics. So I always like to tell people, they go, I just wish I was more like this person. Well, tell me about that person.
Yeah, like that.
What is so great about that person? And I like to get them to open up a little bit about that because I want to go to the root of it. It can't just be a superficial thing like, well, they're super famous. Like, no, what is it about them? What do you connect with? Right? What part of their story grabs you by the heart and pulls you in? Because somewhere along the lines, there's a strong parallel there between that person and you. And your job is to find that and then now dig down deep and just own that part of your ass.
That's absolutely right. That's spot on. I love that. I love the way you put it so much. I don't think I could have articulated it like that, but that's just beautiful. And I kind of like that. It's almost like being an archaeologist and just digging something up that you've got buried deep inside of you. And, and one way that I like when I see people that I admire and I like their traits, I don't just look at them and try to figure out their vibration, their energy. I'm like, what books are you reading? What do you do on Saturday? What time do you get up in the morning? What do you eat for breakfast? Like, I want to know every single thing that they're doing because it's all part and parcel of who we are. And I have one of my very, very dear friends that I adore. He talks to people in such a way. I admire it so much. And so I started kind of like observing how he communicates with people. And he's one of the few people that can like tell me something when I'm doing something wrong that I don't like want to kill him. Like he's always in such alignment with people and he can like say it in a gentle way. And even if he's not saying it in a gentle way, he says it in a way that I get it and I understand and I listen. And then I edit that out of my personality as much as I can, might take me a few tries, but I get there. But I like that about him because he kind of makes me want to be a better person all the time. And I like that about him. So when I'm doing something that's a little wonky and he calls me out on it, I'm like, yeah, I'm just going to be a better person by tomorrow now. Thank you. But you can't have an ego.
It's amazing how some people can help you with that.
Yeah. You just can't have an ego. If you have an ego, you're done. You can't grow if you have an ego. So,
Yeah, I mean, I think it's always going to be there, right? But we have to be so self-aware to be like, all right, what's talking right now? What's driving me? And if it's something that is not going to serve me getting better, then I can't allow it to take the
yeah.
wheel. And I think that and this is funny because I talked about this on one of my previous shows, is when somebody says something to you about something that you're doing or how you're operating that may not be the most beneficial to you, and you react in a negative manner, get mad or butt hurt, so to speak. Well, I truly believe it's because you've already pinpointed that and you haven't done anything about it yet. And then someone called your ass on the carpet and now you're just embarrassed that it even got to that point because you could have taken action and you didn't. And someone beat you to the punch.
It's true.
I know that's how I operate. I mean, shoot, man, if someone says something to me and I know I know I should have been working on that, yeah, I'll get pretty upset. My watch just talked to me. Did you hear that?
Yeah, I
She's
did
like,
actually.
begin workout. Like, it's not time yet, lady. It's not time yet. It's okay. We're unscripted here on the Determined Society podcast. The listeners expect some weird shit to go on, so don't even worry about it. But I just think it's awareness, man. Just like understanding that where that's coming from. Like it's a defense mechanism.
Yeah. I used to be a very defensive person. I used to explain myself a lot. And now these days, even if I really want to react and I want to be reactive, I just keep my mouth shut and I try to think like, are they right? Am I right? Are they wrong? Like I'm really careful now before I respond to anything. And I've also learned to say, I heard what you said. I'm not ready to respond to that yet. I need to metabolize this and I'll let you know what I think about what you said later. And that I do that. I don't argue anymore. I just let people do their thing. And I see that people who get upset and aggressive and angry very quickly they know that they've done something wrong. Like they're having an issue. And I don't ever want to get caught having an issue. So when I'm having an issue, I'm freaking hiding it, man. I don't want anyone to diagnose me on the spot. And then I diagnose myself later. So now I'm just like, stay very quiet. Like your issues are showing.
I think it's super important to have a self audit. Yeah, exactly. It's funny because you talked about that. You edit yourself every day, like that audit every single day. Hey, what did I do today? Was I the person that I needed to be to achieve what I wanted to achieve?
Yep.
Was I my highest self? Did I help people? Did I impact people? Did I help the world today? All those different things, if there's a no to any one of those questions, then to me, like, it's time to start over, right? Let's not go to bed until we check that box. And I don't mean just check the box. I mean, do it with full intention, right? Because if we are not living with an alignment with who we are or who we want to be and setting forth out in those actions, we're not going to really accomplish much, right? Because people are going to smell it on you. You're going to be, inauthentic. And that's the worst thing to me is that scares me. Like when people are, and this is what blew me away, Courtney. Like I'm going to be straight up. When I'm not from this industry, I grew up I played baseball at Louisiana State University. And then when I graduated, I got mixed up into the mortgage meltdown. And then I became a teacher so I could coach baseball. And then I sold payroll. And then I went to the medical industry and then I started the show. And since then I've left the medical industry and I'm doing this full time. Plus I own a payroll company. I'm not from this world. And it blows me away. How can I put this? I'm just going to say it. There's a lot of fake sons of bitches in this industry. Yes. And I can't fathom it. It blows my mind. It is almost, what's that word I'm looking for? I'm just ignorant. I'm just ignorant of it. Like I can't even imagine some people operating like some people operate here.
Yeah. I've met a lot of those people. But I think people who are like looking for like help or assistance, or people who are interested in self-awareness and intention, recognize those people right away. And I know that I did.
Yeah.
Even, I wasn't in this space. I was an attorney, and then I went to work for someone who works in this space, and that's how I became aware of all of this. And I was able to spot all the fakes right away. And my previous employer,
Mm-hmm.
he was the real deal. Like, he wasn't a fake. He was probably one of the most generous, kind people that you could work for. And his like stuff was real. I saw people get helped by this guy. And that's when I started really getting interested, like more into, the intention space. And I'm not really in it either. I'm just, I'm all about mindset, but like I am a corporate business monster. Like that's what I do. So,
Yeah.
this for me
Yeah.
just helps me align those two things. And I love this, but this helps me be better at my job to help people. So, and I just like it. It made me a better mother. It made me a better sister. It made me a better daughter. It made me a better everything. And I love it.
Yeah.
It's like addicting. It's addicting. And I think people do stuff with
I feel
fakes.
you on
Yeah.
that. Yeah, I do feel you on that. And I want to take a moment because we're talking a lot about mindset. Obviously, it's the theme of the show. But let's segue. Let's talk about your book.
My
Good
book, I'm
Lord, it's
so
almost coming out.
excited. Yes.
Yes, your baby is almost here. It's
Yes.
time.
So this actually started. So I started teaching law in 2011, and I was teaching attorneys, third year attorneys, how to start their own law firm. It was like becoming a lawyerpreneur. And there was nothing on the topic. They had one suggested book, and it was the worst thing I ever read in my life. The guy who wrote the book, I'm sure when he wrote it back whenever he did, it was relevant, but he even had like a diagram in the book of how to set your desk up so you remember why you became a lawyer. Put a picture of your family on the left. Put your tape dispenser and your thing on the right. And I'm like, this is ridiculous. You guys really need to know about social media advertising, how to not get disbarred for false advertising. No, if you have books in the background, they have to be law books because that's what the statute says. So I created like a professor supplement, and that was the beginning of this book. And as I went through the years, I just kind of added on to it. And then the very first chapter is mindset. Do you have the right mindset to become an entrepreneur? We are natural disruptors. We are creative. We thrive in chaos because chaos is an opportunity to solve problems. Like it was just, I just
Mm-hmm.
started out with that, and then it just flowed. So the book is now, it was 30 chapters yesterday, it's 31 today, and it talks about mindset, how to evaluate your idea, basic legal terms you need to know, basic business terms you need to know, all about seed funding, capital funding, crowdfunding, regulated crowdfunding, securities and funds, employment manual, social media advertising, e-commerce and taxes, like literally soup to nuts, every single thing anyone who owns a business or even works for a business should know in order to be successful as an entrepreneur, a business owner, or as an employee of someone who is the entrepreneur. Like it's just a book that really is for everybody. And then I have compliance snapshots in there. Like these are the things you need to know about the FTC. If you're not going to read my whole chapter, at least read this little snapshot. I go through every, alphabet soup regulatory body from the CFPB to the FTC, the FCC, like you name it, it's all in there. And I just really want people to be aware of the sharks in the water before they start, swimming out into the big blue ocean. So
Dude, that book sounds incredible. And the thing that I love mostly about it is the fact that it's all experiential, right? It's an experience that you've had in your life and you're sharing it with everybody, right?
yes.
It's actually happened. It's transpired. And I love the way you talk about us entrepreneurs,
We're the best,
disruptors.
man.
Oh, I love that. A lot of people take that as, they think that's just a negative connotation there. I love being called a disruptor. I love it. I love it. My last corporate leader called me like, dude, you're a disruptor.
It's a
Like,
good
I don't
thing.
know what's going on
It's a
with
good
you,
thing.
but you
We're
are
not
disrupting something.
stagnant. I
And
also have an app.
yeah,
I have an app that's coming out also that's going to disrupt the entire legal industry. And I'm very excited.
really.
Yes, it's so good. It's so different. There's nothing like it. I was ready to launch it, and then Chat GB came out, and I was like, you know what? I could actually make this app a lot better and streamline it because now we got this Chat GBT stuff, and wow. And when I tell you, I can't wait. Once I can talk about it, I got to come back on your show, and your hat will literally fly off the top of your head when I tell you what this app's going to do for every single person in this country. It's mind blowing. Not to brag, but I'm bragging. It's really good.
I can't wait. I can't
Yeah.
wait. When are you going to be able to talk about it?
Probably in like 2 more months. So we had to kind of go back to the drawing board when I came up with all the changes. The way I had it, I actually wrote every single word for all these different scripts and code. And then when ChatGPT came out, I'm like, oh my God, all I have to do is say blah, blah now, and it's going to all do it by itself. So I kind of streamlined it. But what the actual result of what this app does, when people see it, they're going to be like, oh my God, I can't believe nobody else has thought of this yet. It's not out there. It's the perfect pink ocean tech
Dude, that's
idea.
awesome. That's just so awesome.
I'm excited.
I'm here for it. I can't wait. 2 months from today, 2.5 months from today, I am calling you. I'm like, I need to know about this app now.
Yay.
I need to know. You got to give it to me. You
I
got to give
will.
it to me. So walk everybody through how they can buy your book. We're going to start landing the plane here. But speak to the audience how they could go to your website. Do you have a link for your book? And, how can they be more involved with you, Courtney? How can they find you on social media, buy your book, and learn from you?
So on social media, I have my Instagram account. It's Courtney Jared Bannon Esquire. And I don't post a lot of legal stuff, but I post a lot of mindset stuff because every weekend I make my yoga reels and I talk about how to translate certain things in your day. It's like my meditation mindset. I love the Everglades and alligators and being outdoors. So I have a lot of outdoor stuff on there. But I have a link in my bio that takes you to my website, which is CourtneyJaredBannon.com. And on there is all legal stuff. You're only going to find legal stuff there. All the packages that I sell, the services that I provide. And then there's a landing page just for my book. And I'm proud to say that my dear, dear friend who I love and adore wrote the foreword. His name is Richard Dolan. He's one of my favorite humans. And he's just fantastic. And that was such an honor because he had a lot to do. He was actually the friend I was talking about earlier, who's the only one that can get away with telling me that I'm doing something wonky. He's such a great person, especially in the intention space. He's probably one of the best and most authentic people. He's not afraid to be vulnerable. Like, he's just an amazing man. And he wrote the foreword for my book. So I'm so excited for this whole project.
I'm super excited for you, and I can't wait to read it myself. And it's always nice when you have someone you trust and care about writing your foreword. It is important. It makes the project that much sweeter because it means something, right? So
I think we're frozen.
I just want to thank you so much for coming on the show tonight and giving the audience so much value about mindset, who you are, and how to, learn more from you, talking about your book. And I will be sure to make sure that all of those, all that information's in the show notes. And that way people can go and scoop that book up and learn from you, because it sounds like there's a ton of shit in there that entrepreneurs need to learn. And it's a lot of things that they may not know that they need to know. So thank you so much, Courtney. Southwest Florida is one of the most beautiful places on the planet to live. For those of you that are thinking of moving from other states to come to Florida, or even just moving to a different part of the state, I want you to think of a big, beautiful luxury home. Contact Legacy Luxury Builders. They are a family-owned and operated luxury residential construction company. As a family-owned business, they believe in the power of building not just homes, but legacies. Contact Legacy Luxury Builders. The nightmare of feeling like you'll never measure up, of constant second guessing and self-doubt. It eats away at you and destroys your confidence. I've been there too, feeling like I didn't belong on the field with my teammates, but it doesn't have to stay that way. I used to compare myself to everyone around me. I thought that no matter how hard I worked, I'd never be as good as the other guys. It killed my self-belief. I now help athletes develop an elite mindset so comparison no longer controls them. We teach techniques to cut out the negative self-talk and unlock their full potential. Imagine stepping into the box when it counts the most and feeling totally confident in your ability, feeling invincible instead of insecure, ready to seize the opportunity instead of shrinking from it. That's the mindset I help athletes develop. Don't waste another minute on comparison and self-doubt. Take control of your mindset and become the confident, unstoppable competitor you are meant to be. DM or comment below to get started with Edge and transform your mental game.